All right, I'm excited to be here today in the Nucleus Hub inside of the University of Miami for the Counseling Creators Conference. But most importantly, I got my boy over here. He is a health coach, doctor. The guy's an amazing individual. He's a creator. Brother, introduce yourself to the people.
Hey, how's it going, man? You're too kind. You're too kind. Hyping me up. So my name is Dr. Emeka Jufo. I'm a physical medicine rehab physician. I'm also a health coach. And I'm somebody that just likes to live a healthy life and try to inspire other people to do the same. And it's been a blessing to be invited out here to the Nucleus Hub. What you guys are creating is amazing, and I'm excited because I've seen behind the scenes. So you're seeing how far you guys have come so far is just amazing to me, and I just know this is just the beginning.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I just want to say, first of all, I appreciate you coming out here, making time to spend time with us, create content. In this world, the creator economy, if you're not in it, in the long run, you're missing out. You said it. And I want to talk about that because, dude, you're a doctor. You studied for years.
Yeah.
We're talking about a vigorous profession, a lot of hard work,
For sure.
there's a lot of time, a lot of energy, but you still decided to become a creator. For you, what did you see that said, I can't just be a doctor, I need to do more?
So I think one thing that a lot of doctors fail to understand is that most people get their healthcare information from the things that they consume. Like we've all watched things like the Doctors, the Dr. Oz show, Dr. Phil, all these things. And that's really where people are getting their health information. It's not from the little 15-minute interview that you have with them, while you're busy dealing with insurances and stuff at your hospital. So I feel like the biggest impact that we can have is take all the lessons that we learn from coaching and training these people in the hospital and also expressing ourselves, because I'm going to trust you with my health. I want to kind of get to know you.
Yeah.
I want to see what you do on a day-to-day basis. I want to really be able to connect with you, and sometimes the best way to connect with someone is through content. And another thing that I realized as social media started getting popping is that if I'm going to be somebody that's consuming so much content, I need to at least be producing some of it.
That's
right? Right? Because a lot of people just kind of watching everyone else's life on TV, but they're not really doing much in terms of putting stuff out there. And we all have a different story. We all have a lot of stuff to share. And not saying this is for everybody. I was a little nervous at the beginning, getting on camera, hearing my voice was weird. I didn't know how to have a personality. I was very monotone. Now I'm used to it. But that's really my journey. It was just like I knew that there was more to being a doctor than just reading books and treating patients.
Love that. And you said some important things, like it didn't just happen overnight. You made mistakes. Like you said, there was some times where you're just like monotone, you had no personality, You're figuring it out. For you, what was that thing that just like clicked and you're like, now I feel like I got my content rolling. Now I feel like I'm speaking better. Now I feel like I'm more comfortable in front of camera. Don't get me wrong, it takes reps. But besides the reps, what was that thing for you? And then as advice for the listeners out there, share through your experience how they can put some of that into effect and see if it works for them.
I think we all need some sort of validation from somewhere. Now we have social media, so you get it in terms of likes and virality of videos and stuff like that. But just seeing people that were in my shoes as physicians that looked up to me for the stuff that I was putting out, and they're like, hey, man, I really appreciate some of the stuff that you told me. Like, it's changed my life. I have people reaching out to me. I'll be on a boat in Miami. Somebody comes from California, and they're like, yo, man, I just posted a picture with you, and this cop all the way in California told me because of you, he got blood work done, right? He decided to get his health checked because of something that you put out a year ago, right? So it's those moments that are like, okay, this matters. And I think having that happen over time, now it's, hundreds of thousands of followers is different now. So like I've had that validation, but even before you get to that point, it's just, if you can help one person from a video, like it motivates you to continue to get better and to work on your craft and to get better at delivering your message to help people.
Spot on, man. That's amazing. And there's one thing when I say a difference is, when you monetize and you start thriving and getting deals and making money on the content you're putting out there, whether it's courses or through the platforms themselves or advertisement. But there's a different thing when you get a message or you get somebody who recognized you and said, man, this helped me with X, Y, and Z. Somebody you didn't even know, like you said, somebody from across the country. To you, how does that feel personally when you get those messages and when you get that information? For you, what does that make you feel?
It makes me feel grateful, honestly, and it also makes me feel like it's all worth it because I feel a lot of times we all get stuck in a rut and we don't know what to do with our lives. But I realize some of the best ways to make yourself feel good about yourself is to help somebody else, right? And that a lot of us are missing.
Powerful.
That. As a physician, it's kind of my job to help people. So like I have patients come back and be like, "Yo, man, because you gave me those knee injections, I've been able to like run more and do all this stuff." That makes me feel good. Me sometimes having to go to work and do all the other stuff doesn't necessarily make me feel good, but the feeling that I'm personally impacting the health of someone else, that makes me feel good. And I think we all have a way that we can do that. You can do it through content, helping someone grow their platform and, saying, hey, I've been able to produce more revenue and get more views. That's also validation, right? Because I help coach people too, and when it comes to putting their content out there, especially physicians, and seeing someone go from like having no followers to like now they're blowing up on social media, and they're a doctor, and they're sharing how they eat their foods, how they deal with like being pregnant and working out, and they're sharing their message. They had a message I couldn't share, right? But I helped them get to the point where they could do that, and that validation, that growth that I'm seeing them make, there's nothing better than that.
That feeling, man. That feeling. And since we're on the talking about you being a physician and the creating the content. When it comes to the work side of things, and there might be another physicians, doctors out there that maybe they're stuck in this place where they're like scared to do this because they don't want to like, damage something at work, or they're scared they're going to get in trouble. Did you have a situation like that where, you started growing, you started blowing up, maybe at work they're like, hey, I see you're spending more time on this, or, hey, I don't know if you should be doing that. Was there any of that at all? Or was it just like, support, maybe a little bit of both? And if so, on the opposite end, the first end, how do you handle that if you did get some of that? And then on the other end, obviously if people are supporting, you're running with it. Yeah.
So I'll touch on that. So me personally, luckily, I've been in a situation where I never really had much pushback.
Okay.
I was, people meet me and they're like, oh man, it's Mr. Social Media or whatever. So people will like kind of facetiously say some stuff. I haven't really had any pushback from administration. In fact,
that's great.
Most stages of my career it was encouraged. It was encouraged to be like, hey, because a lot of the stuff I talk about is health, it's nutrition. Now at the same token, I think it's important to separate yourself from the institution that you're working with whenever you post something. You have to say, this is not the view of, my institution, this is my personal stance. Because I saw where people were getting in trouble. Is like we all went through COVID and stuff and that was very like controversial time. There's certain things I just didn't talk about because I was in residency. I'm like, I'm seeing some stuff that
I get it.
I talk to you, I might talk to my friends, but I'm not going to necessarily put that stuff out there.
Smart. Some things, shouldn't be out there.
Yeah, exactly. And I understand people want you to be 100% transparent, but you have to, sometimes
you got to be smart.
Talk to your friend, man. Talk to your family. You don't necessarily need to put everything out there. So I'm very kind of strategic in some of the things that I put out there because I don't want to like ruin my brand. I don't want to like, hurt anyone's feelings or, get into some hot water because of that. But I have seen people where it does become a little risky with the stuff that you're putting out, especially as a healthcare professional. You're people look at you as you're not human, right? You don't drink, right? All you do is treat patients and study, right? You're not a real human, but the reality is you are a whole human.
Yeah.
And over time I've tried to blend my real life with the fact that I'm a doctor because there was this whole like med bikini thing where like there was a bunch of physicians that were posting pictures of themselves, when in a bikini or swim trunks. It was primarily kind of hating on women. And I didn't agree with that at all because, in fact, I was like, you know what? I want more physicians to show that they're real people.
For sure.
Right? Because now you are more relatable to who you're treating, and they're more likely to understand and absorb the information that you're giving them. If you act like you're holier than thou and that you've had all this training but you're just a robot that has no bedside manner, like you're not connecting with anybody. Right, so it's just trying to find that balance that works for you and just being smart and thinking about like anything you put on the internet is forever.
Facts.
Right.
People think even if you delete it, it ain't deleted. It's somewhere else.
It's there.
How many times do you share stuff on your socials and then there's these random fake or like I don't know, they're out there so they're real, but they're like these phony socials that you're like, I've never heard this platform before, and it's like on some random platform. You're like, wait, that's my reel, or wait, that's my picture, and that happens all the time. So you gotta be careful, man. You gotta be careful.
Yeah.
Switching things in more talking about the creator economy as a whole. For you, what do you like that you're seeing right now happening in the creator economy? What don't you like, and what would you like to see happen in the future?
All right, so that's a lot of stuff. Right?
Loaded question.
What do I like? One thing I do like, I think the quality of content is improving in terms of like, look at what you're doing, right? You're making the content better, having like professionalism through the microphones, and people having to actually be creative. Because back when social media started, people just post a picture and like, I'll go viral, and but you weren't really actually providing value. Now, one thing, this is actually what I tell anybody that's getting started, is like, when you start getting started, don't pretend you're getting started. Look at all the landscape. Look at your favorite people. There's very cheap ways to make content just like that. And use that as your bar, because you're not competing against just yourself when you're getting started. You're competing against me, you're competing against you, you're competing against, these people that don't sleep, right? Tony Robbins, you're competing against everybody. So you have to make sure that your content's up to par. But the beautiful thing about it is that I don't need hundreds of thousands of dollars in a production studio to create content. I mean, I just need my phone, right, to get started.
Start with what you have, because what you have is plenty.
What you have is plenty. So the fact that you can just pick up a phone, you can express yourself, and someone can connect with you all over the world, I think that's amazing. At the same time, I think the algorithm sometimes favors things that are controversial, because those are the things that get the most engagement, right?
It's like news.
It's just like the
favors
news.
the things that.
And because of that, you have a lot of negative energy. Like, I don't use Twitter that much, but every time I go on Twitter, there's too many things I'll see. You'll see somebody getting shot. You'll see somebody getting bombed. You'll see somebody beating up their family, their loved one, and then you'll maybe see a cat video. But like, there's just too much just negative energy and tension, and then you'll see all the political stuff on there. And each platform kind of leans in a different way. So that's one thing it's unfortunate, because like, there's no filter for children really. Like, kids, you have so many kids that are growing up, and this is their world now.
And even on those, you know how you can filter out like, oh, kids content only, and you can block off all the adult content stuff. Dude, it's just stuff seeps in, man.
Yeah.
It's not all that protective.
Yeah, and you have a child. So
Yeah,
like, tell me how you manage balance that.
So biggest thing for me, this is how I do it. And I'm not telling anybody, how to parent, but for me, what works is, with my little one, I make sure she understands, like, hey, no phone. Like, she doesn't ask me for my phone. I don't give her my phone. It's like her TV. She has her little TV time. I monitor that. I already know what I'm going to put her. I make sure I've read reviews, read stuff on the things that I show her, and she knows that's what she's going to watch. I make sure I get the stuff that's ad-free. Okay. So that way there's no ads that seep in as well that might not be, kid-friendly. And then, on top of that, when it comes to, the phone stuff and tablets, for me, I've said, hey, look, when we're somewhere, you got your notepad to draw, your drawing book, you got your colors, you got your toys, you got that. That's what you can play with. And that's what I've tried to do now. And eventually, I know as she gets older, she's gonna get more exposed, and I can't control it. The uncontrollable, right? Yeah. So, eventually when she has friends, but I know with me at least, it's like if I can. And it's not saying that, okay, this is bad. Obviously, this is a necessity in a good way. But right now, when they're this little, they don't need to be consuming this. I think kids now, since we're such in a technological world, kids are being forced all these tools on top of them too fast. Let them be kids. Let them be creative, imagination. If anything, some of these things are taking imagination away because it's doing it for you. And instead, let your mind work. Be creative. Imagine. You don't need all these tools when you're at that age, and you don't need to be exposed to all that stuff. So for me personally, it's one of the biggest things that she knows not to ask for my phone, but not to ask for a tablet, because I have her in that way where it's like, hey, this is what you're going to use, this is what you're going to play with, and be a kid, enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, that's a rough balance, and eventually I'm going to have children. I'm going to have to kind of make that decision. I was talking to a couple of my friends. We were saying, when is a appropriate time for you to allow your child to have a smartphone, right? And the ages kind of vary between like when you start middle school to when you start high school. My stance was, I didn't have a cell phone until I was like 14. But back in my day,
Yeah.
I act like I'm 70. Cell phones didn't have, there was no smartphone when I was 14.
It was a flip.
Yeah, it was this little flip phone. You play like Snake and Pac-Man, and then, you call your parents. I couldn't imagine being 14 and now seeing the whole world on my phone all the time, and what that would have potentially done to my self-esteem because of the things I'm seeing other people have that I don't
True.
have, or my ability to communicate. Because one of the things that I'm seeing from some of the younger generation, because I don't want to be the guy that's like, oh
I
man,
get
the
it.
younger generation. But what I'm seeing from a lot of people in general, it's really hard to do this if all you do is stare at a phone all day, because you lost your ability to communicate. If you can't communicate in real life,
Said it.
you're struggling through, because this is the most powerful skill you can have in order for you to be successful, is the ability to communicate, not necessarily on camera with lights and stuff, but like the ability to talk to somebody, to share your message, to connect with people. And I think that's the biggest thing that we're losing because of some of these
And
devices.
social media knows what they're doing. They just want you to be a consumer.
Yeah.
So if you're just consuming, when do you have time to go out there, sharpen your communication skills, make networking connection, actually meet people in real life? And that's something for me that I think is so important. I try to push this, especially with what I'm building with Nucleus, is I've always had a philosophy of connecting, moving over, and building. When I say connecting, is connecting through social, use the tools for what it has, use the advantages. And when you connect, move those people over to real life. Build the real life community. That's the fruitfulness. That's real social. You talking about real social media, it's getting people, moving them over, and doing this.
Yeah.
For me, that's what's most important. Then you build upon that platform with that individual outside. That's where you're going to keep being able to communicate, sharpen those skills, and building upon there. And for me, honestly, that's one of my missions, is to keep pushing that forward with social, because dude, you got all these people stuck behind the screen, and that's where they live their entire life.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
And it's kind of
It
very
is.
sad. But like, even though we're on camera now, we have dinner like at least once every 2 months, and we just talk, right?
And we just straight up, exactly.
And a year and a half ago, we didn't really know each other. We just knew each other through kind of a mutual friend, and also shout out to Roger.
And we're still here creating content in person. We're still connecting. We're still meeting. Yeah, we're gonna post it up, but we're here. And that's the most important thing. I know I mentioned that loaded question. Where would you like to see the creator economy go?
Where would I like to see?
Like, what are some of the things that you want to see in the future come out?
Let's see. I think for me, I just want to find ways to create more of a healthy mental dynamic for a lot of people through the creator economy. I want this to be used as a platform to help people uplift themselves and not necessarily struggle with more mental health issues, just because that's what I feel like, from my perspective, working in healthcare, I feel like it's had a very negative impact mentally. So if that can increase, I don't know how we'd necessarily do that, because what gets shared is going to create the incentive structure for the content that you're creating, right? So the problem is, I'm a guy that's a very physical person. I'm a fitness guy. If I post a picture or I do videos and I'm shirtless with my six-pack out, that's going to do better than me sitting in the blue shirt on the couch, right? So that incentive structure is rough. But I don't think they're ever going to change that, because they're monetizing the back end of it. Right, so unless there's
And health and fitness is the second most consumed content on social media and best performing content on social media.
Yeah, and there's a lot of it's because it's just sexy, right? It's softcore porn, to be honest.
That's true.
The people that are doing the most, I mean, aside from like Huberman, he's the only guy with like a full shirt on.
That is true.
But those are very few and far between. Most of it is very over-sexualized fitness content.
And then they have OnlyFans links on their pages.
Yeah, so and it funnels, which is now kind of another incentive structure for young girls that haven't even really fully developed, or young men and women that haven't fully developed, to expose their physical presence to the world long before they get opportunities in real life. And it can potentially sabotage their future. And that's the thing that,
like you said earlier, what stays on the internet, what you put on the internet stays on it.
Right? That's a really tough thing to deal with when you have someone that has a phone. I can create a little OnlyFans page really quick, and I can put my body looks great, and people want to see it, and I have a lot of followers. But now when I'm 26, I'm trying to get this job, and people are like,
no,
what's this?
Yeah,
right.
It's true. And then you got to live with those decisions you made.
Yeah.
So
And that I think that is the most dangerous part of all this, you know, because I've seen it affect people personally, and it sucks. You know, sometimes they tell that I wish if I could go back, I wouldn't have done that.
Yep. That's why you hear stories some of these athletes saying, "Thank God social media didn't exist back in my time."
Yeah, I mean, thank God social media didn't exist.
Well, yeah, exactly. It wasn't. It was starting, but it wasn't there.
Yeah, it wasn't super popping. I mean, in undergrad, because let's be honest, we're in a university, but for a lot of people, when you go to university, maybe 40% of y'all gonna use your degrees.
Dude, it's true. It's true.
Most of y'all just paying a lot of money to party and do some stuff, some questionable things, and to grow and develop as a human, for sure. But a lot of it is partying. And if all of that's recorded, that could really mess you up.
It's true.
Right. So
It's true.
be careful, all you young cats
agree.
out there. It's
I agree, man.
get to the age of 30, like we're not that old.
Yeah, we're not. But things are moving so fast that we see the gap between what we were exposed as kids to where things are now. Because let's be honest, like you look at technology back in the 1800s to like even the mid 1900s or even further in, it's not as fast as you see the window between when we were born to where we're at now. That gap has narrowed in technology advancement because back then it was like every few years there was a big advancement.
Yeah.
Now it's like every 6 months you're like, what is the new AI thing? What is this new, so it's like it's moving so fast, and I think that's part of the thing that makes us feel like, whoa.
It's kind of overwhelming.
It's
Hold
true.
on to something. This is crazy. Yeah,
So-
I mean, AI is a perfect example of that. That literally did not exist like a year and a half ago.
It's crazy.
And now it's like every AI this, AI that, AI assistants that sound better than me.
My little one's practically, she's 5 years old, practically born into that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So as we wrap it up, I want to ask you. You talked about things that you would like to see in the future of the creator economy. Have you thought of solutions that you feel that could work? Maybe you've tested things yourself. Are there some ideas that you have that I would love for you to share with the audience?
I think building private communities. So there's a platform called School.
Cool.
There's things like Kajabi, all these other places where you can take your audience from, like, say, Instagram, and put them in an area where you can kind of control the content that is fed to them and make sure that the content's like, high quality. And I really like that because I'm someone that loves producing long form content. I love talking about nutrition, but like, I know how to catch you with a hook. I knew how to do all those other things, the tactics to get you to scroll and comment. But the reality is there's only so much I can teach you in 60 seconds, right? The reason why I have to coach you for 6 months is because I have to break down your old habits. I have to instill new habits. I have to educate you. And one of the biggest things when it comes to fitness or goals or anything in life is that you have to realize that you need a plan and you need to take action on that plan over time in order to see results. So having these places where you can store your long form content, whether it's YouTube or a community or a course, I think is one of the solutions to that issue of people just kind of being on social media and being depressed or just sharing their skin all the time. Is to have these private communities and show people that your real value, because 10 years down the road, that's going to have staying power. Some of these social media things are going to die.
Facts.
Right?
Facts.
We've seen it. Like what was before we had TikTok and Instagram? Was
Vine.
Vine, yeah. I was about to call it Voon or something. That was there. MySpace, not here no more. Right. So these things fall
You
and
had
die.
Tumblr too. Tumblr was another one.
Tumblr was a big one.
And then Snapchat died, came back, but it's
still not
it
the
happens.
same. Well, like,
Still not the same.
but if you have your own, your email list and like your own community, those things are going to have some staying power. And I think that's longevity-wise, that's how you build a real business in this game. And also realize that it's not just about likes, right? I know I have sometimes people slide in my DMs. They're like, "Hey, will you please like my photo or follow me?" Produce value. First off, produce value, and realize it's not necessarily only about likes. Likes don't really define who you are. What defines who you are is the ability for you to impact someone else and also how you feel about yourself.
Love that. Brother, it's been a pleasure. Before we close it out, I'm going to give you a moment to just let the people know where they can connect with you, find you, your socials, all your plugins, and then I'm going to take you through a little quick burn around.
Okay, for sure. So you can reach me on Instagram, most likely, Dr. Blade MD, so DOCTA Blade MD. That's my biggest platform. And you can also, same thing on TikTok, same thing on YouTube.
And then you can also, if you're interested in coaching or you want somebody to help you with your fitness journey, you can go to www.drblade.com and we can set you up with a program.
Love it. You ready?
Yes,
Hot
sir.
seat?
Yeah, I'm in
All
the
right,
hot
these are
seat.
quick.
I'm nervous.
All right. All right, number one. If there's one fitness tool that you have to pick and you have to use it for the rest of your life, you can't use anything else, what would it be?
Are we talking about like physical tool or like?
Anything, and why?
Okay, that would be a dumbbell. Because versatile, you can take it anywhere. You can pretty much do any exercise with it.
I like it. I like it. All right. What was your biggest and craziest moment as a creator in the creator economy?
I think my biggest moment was when I had a video on TikTok do 7 million views, and it was because I had no plan on that happening, but I just told myself for 30 days I'm going to post something every single day. And it was a random video I literally recorded in 30 seconds on day 4. And I took everything off.
Wow.
So it was just making sure I had the same consistency that I had with my fitness. I had that with my content, and it, you know, set me on this platform to where I am now.
That's awesome. Next question for you, because I know you're a man of routine. You got your things going. What is your favorite part of your routine? What is the most favorite thing that you like to do?
My favorite thing that I like to do, honestly, it's resistance training. Because for me, it is a form of meditation. Because with meditation, your goal is really to be present. So, like, if you're not present when you lift the weights, you're gonna hurt yourself. So that's my favorite part of anything, is just being able to resistance train, feel my muscles, close my eyes, and just connect with my body.
Love that. And lastly, last question. For you, what is your most favorite thing to do for fun while you're here in Miami enjoying yourself?
My favorite thing to do for fun, honestly, is to be on boats with my friends and just be out in the sun, connecting with, 10 to 13 close people, reminiscing on the journey that I've been to get to this point, and coming up with a strategy and a goal and a plan to where I want to go.
Love that. When we getting on a boat, man?
Very soon.
Let's do it.
Yeah, you heard it here first. I'm making it happen.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for the time, bro. It's a pleasure always.
For sure.
Guys, till next time, make sure to like, comment, follow. Please go support this man. He's amazing at what he does. If you need help, he's here to help you, both in the fitness, as a doctor, and as well, like, he has a lot of knowledge even on the building side of things too. So if you're somebody who just, connects with him and maybe you need some tips and some info on how to even, like, where do I even start? How do I get my content moving? He's a source of information, man. He's a great dude. So guys, till next time, in the Nucleus Hub here at the University of Miami.